Tonight we have breaking news as we come on the air. This new warning: the wind's now coming again tonight. Dangerous situation. Winds up to 75 miles an hour again this evening in California. We're also learning tonight of two.
Yes.
All right, Rosemary, can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
Great. All right, Nancy, we're all set.
Okay. 6:30, like to call the Council on Aging meeting to order. Everybody should have a copy of the agenda. John Parsons was also going to be, here he is. Yay. He was going to join us in 3 days. So attendance, actually, I'm gonna do a couple of things, well, one thing. I'm just gonna pass around the sheet with everybody's name on it, just check your telephone number. It also has your firm when you're up. And, I don't know, it might be nice to have everybody's in here, so I don't have. So I'm gonna send it. Do you want to put a check mark if you show them that? Whatever. When can you guys hear us? Okay.
Can you guys hear us okay? Great.
Hi, Jana.
Hello, can hear you loud and clear.
Woo-hoo. Okay, Jean Prado. Here. And John Parsons.
Here.
And Rose Marie.
Here.
Debbie Small is not coming. I did not hear from Joan Coco, Karen Janowski here. Karen Burnett here. Marilyn Shapley here. Nancy Z. And John Szynski. Okay. So. There is going to be one thing that we are going to take off the agenda. And we'll put it on the next agenda. If anybody has, any EHS budget questions. And I put a whole bunch of links there, so if people missed Jenna's presentation, you can go watch it. And there's also some news articles out there that are interesting to read. So we're gonna move that. So is that okay with you, Jenna?
Good answer.
Approved minutes. You might have noticed that there were like 1 billion minutes, 8, I believe, attached to the meeting agenda that Chris sent out. And we can do one of two things. I don't know if people had time to read them. I didn't. I don't know if people really want to read them. Because I am going to ask if we do read them. I need you to write it all down for me so that I can then make whatever changes need to be made on the agendas. Or you can trust me and I might have some typos in there, but in the scheme of things, I don't. So what would people like to do? Do you want to approve all those minutes? Or do you want to table that till the next meeting?
I would like to time to read them.
Okay.
I wanted to put my emphasis on the other information I found out. It was only, but the other information I did have a sheet to look at.
Good, okay.
That's
So,
just me, I don't know about other people.
and, well, I think if one person wants to do it, we're gonna move it to the next meeting, I don't think that. We have no select board member here. And, that brings us right to Elder and Human Services report. First one,
Nancy, do you have a microphone? Because your volume is very low.
Can you hear her now when she speaks up?
maybe
I can hear you, Christopher, but
Same here.
It's very hard to hear Nancy.
what about now? Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I'll open my window the way you're yelling and I can hear you.
Here is the microphone.
So just so everyone knows, the microphone is this square. There's a whole bunch of microphones in this little, where the green light is. So that's where the microphones are. You should be picked up pretty well, but just make sure you talk up. If you're looking down and talking soft, they're not gonna probably be able to hear you.
Going right through.
All right.
Oh, the other thing that we need to do is we need a secretary. And the secretary really is only, for the next, what, 4 or 5 months, till June. First of all, do I have any volunteers?
I will.
Okay.
I was simplifying the minutes.
Right.
I'm gonna be similar to the
Okay.
select board,
Perfect.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
All
Thank
right.
you, Karen.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Well, otherwise, yeah, somebody has to do it.
Yeah.
But I'm keeping them simple. Okay.
I think as long as we put a link to the recording in there. And if someone wants all the detail, they can watch the recording.
I do need the format though, or do I just send you my notes? Because I need the format.
No, I'll send you the format. This is template.
Right.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Great.
Good.
so I want to ask, would it be easier for whoever is taking the notes now and in the future if we had a form and on the form it had all the present members' names with a box that we could check present and not present? So you wouldn't have to go crazy trying to write, oh, we do have a form, okay, all right.
Good idea, Rosemary. So Chris, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
All right, we had, December was another good month. We had a lot of activities. I mean, you can take a look at the numbers, pretty much where we need to be. December, a lot of times tends to be like a little bit slower month with the holidays. But our numbers were still really, really good. Just under 3,000. Which is not for a holiday month such as December, that's fantastic. So, our numbers were really good. So you can take a look at our numbers, volunteers, Jenna's been doing great with volunteers. So, yeah, December was a great month. PSC highlights, I'm gonna jump around just for a minute. I wanna say thank you to Carrie, with all the adopted families, family stuff through the holidays and everything she did with that. She works really hard, with Adopt a Family. They delivered 40 meals this season. And they helped 101 families, which is the largest it's been. So they had a really good year. And I want to say thank you to Carrie for all her work on that. So she works really hard on that. And puts in a lot of long days to get that going and keep it going. Sand for Seniors, we're set for that. If you don't know what Sand for Seniors is it was the alternative to snow shoveling. So we have, I think we have 30 buckets with sand that we can give out to seniors who need it. They can kind of leave it out their door and spread sand on their sidewalks or driveway if they need to. So haven't got any, we don't have any out yet, but we're hoping here soon we'll get it going. So that's good. Yeah, they can call Yeah, and we can send some sand out.
Great.
We have 5-gallon buckets. They're not completely filled, but they are, pretty filled. At least, helps with any trips or falls. Lunch and Learn was on December 4th. That was a good event. Second trash presentation was on December 4th. That was another good event. That trash barrels are rolling out in the spring. So I know quite a few older adult seniors have, signed up to get smaller barrels. So it's nice that they're offering a 48, a 64, or a 96 gallon. So, for a lot of older adults, if they need a smaller, 48 gallon recycling and trash barrel, it's nice, pretty manageable. So nice.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
96 gallons is better than 7. The 64 is the trash, and the 96 is for the same. Oh, yeah, no. Yeah,
Maybe a smaller.
Yeah.
That's mentioned.
Yeah, no.
It's big. But if
Can
you're a
I ask-
single,
Can I ask a question?
yeah,
There used to be a place at the bottom of the screen where you can put your hand up. Can somebody tell me which one I have to click on to do that?
it would be,
Go into participants.
Yeah, under reactions,
React.
there's like a little heart at the bottom, John, that says reactions.
Okay, but that's not the same as putting your hand up.
Well, click
If you-
on that and it'll
Yeah.
open a different screen.
Okay, never
Now
mind.
you're clapping.
Now you're clapping. We are applauding you for finding that.
Okay, so as long as I've done that, can I ask a question? How heavy are those buckets of sand?
They're not, like I said, they're 5-gallon buckets. Someone will bring it to the house and put it by the door. It
Uh-huh.
comes with a little scoop, so people can scoop it out and distribute it, so they don't have to lift the bucket. It's not light. But we didn't want to go with a smaller bucket because that's not much sand. It's probably filled 3/4 of a way at least in a 5-gallon bucket, John. But it comes with a scoop. Rosemary,
Where are people signing up for that?
they can call the center here.
Okay, and then back to your monthly report, I thought we were gonna add a line on the bottom regarding the wait list, how many people had.
Oh,
We're not?
yeah, I'm sorry, I apologize. We've actually, for our bigger events, the holiday, the Christmas lunch in December had roughly 30 people on the wait list. And the New Year's lunch in January 2nd had about 24 or 26. I'm sorry, I forgot about the wait list. I'll add that from next month.
Say that again, because that I do want to add to the.
So for the Christmas luncheon in December, we had I would say I think it's 30 on the wait list. Plus or minus 1. And the New Year's luncheon had, I think, 24 plus or minus 1.
Numbers like 30 or 50 total. What I'm big if you want, but there are 30 attending or.
We do tell folks, we do try to, especially like if we have a holiday one in December and then we have one a couple weeks later. We do try to get people who are on the wait list on the first one to the second one, so people kind of have a turn.
I'm just wondering if people might get discouraged and say, oh, it's okay.
Some people do, but we do ask that if it's okay to add their name to the wait list so we can keep statistics.
Excellent.
Yeah, so even if they do say,
Yeah.
no, we don't, don't worry about it, we ask, is it okay to add so we can keep a track?
Is rating priority on something?
Yeah, writing's priority. Anyhow, good numbers, kudos to the staff, like I said, programming, Anna's been doing amazing with programming. It's just been good. You can see on the second page there, they had a great intergenerational musical bingo on December 12th.
That was a lot of fun.
I was not there. I want to say thank you for Anna for taking an evening, and being there. So, but I heard wonderful things. I know Jenna said it was a fantastic event, I think, right? Yes?
I was there, it was great.
Was that the
Really
only
fun.
generational event? Because weren't there 39 people that participated in it? Yeah.
I think there were closer to 60 people. Is that correct, Jenna?
I still remember.
Yeah, between older adults and, oh yeah. That doesn't take into account, the recreation side. We have recreation and older adults. So I gotta, we had 39 seniors in our system for that bingo.
Okay.
And then, I have to add in the recreation, so we have a few more numbers. Yeah, good event.
You're right, we had about 60, Chris.
About 60, yeah, I thought it was right there at 60, so total.
That was a pretty big.
She always
Usually just the, I usually add them in and I forgot this time. Long one.
I'm faulting him, just, you know.
Yeah.
We've been undercounting from that was.
Um,
You're looking at all the books of what the world will be.
Yeah, we don't miss very few if we miss any,
Alright.
so I'm pretty accurate on.
No, I was impressed that there were that many
Yeah.
for the musical bingo. That's-
Yeah.
I could see like a great for.
A lot of times I get in my head, I always think about the, sometimes I don't flip the switch because I think about the seniors and I'm always wanting to know how many seniors, like how many come out at 4 or 5 o'clock to, you know, so my thinking's always on the, senior part of it.
Right.
Older adults, because I'm like, all right, how many seniors? And I was really pumped about 39. And then I forgot to add the, recreation side.
Totally understandable, it's just.
Yeah.
It's a glimpse of not, like, well, like, you see.
But usually I usually ask Ed or Jim for the list and I add in the numbers for the rec center. I will update this for next month. Ed, Rod.
And congratulations on the volunteers. They've gone up and up
Yeah,
and,
Janet's been doing amazing with the volunteers. The select board meeting at the beginning of January, she and I presented regarding the property tax work-off changes. The select board unanimously approved increasing it from 8 to 15. So we are good to go for the property tax work-off coming up. So we're starting to get a lot of interest. I think the sign up, I have to go back and double check, but the sign up for the lunch and learn with Victor, the assessor, who's going to be talking about it. That number is growing. So if you want to hear about it, sign up for the lunch and learn with Victor, and get some information. But I want to say thank you to, I was holding off to mention that, but I'll mention it now. I want to say thank you to Janet for all of her work on that. She really has, done amazing with getting volunteers in and working on this property tax work off program and revamping it. So I cannot take credit for it. It was all her. She charged ahead with it and she did a fantastic job. So I wanted her to present at the select board meeting, but she nicely declined. She's like, I'm happy to stand next to you and answer questions, but I don't think I'm ready for that. So, you know, I do wish she would have done it because I think it was her project. She did an amazing job with it. So please don't give me credit for it. That's Janet. So, kudos to Janet on that.
But again,
So-
there's a lot of interest about that. and They wanted to increase the amount too.
Yep.
Because they get to 2,000.
There was talk about that. You know, we're gonna leave it at where it is. Well, the talk about that was if we don't get the 10 people, let's say if we only get 5 people sign up, could we, you know, since the max is technically be 2,000, if only 5 show up, could we, you know, maybe look at increasing it for those, you know, but I have a feeling we're getting a lot of interest. I don't think we're gonna have an issue getting 10 people. We're starting to get more and more people, you know, asking us about it, so 10 should not be an issue. anyhow, you can see everything else that's going down. We're gonna be closed January 2nd for Martin Luther King Day. And then the last thing I have on the list there was the Pleasant Street Center we've had a wonderful first 6 months here of the fiscal year, July 1st to the end of December. So, kudos. The numbers show that we are solid again from where we've grown over the past couple of years. And kudos to the staff for all their amazing work. So they work hard, they put their heads down, they think of great ideas, they work hard. Good programming, social services with Carrie are great, volunteers, transportation, and then Linda at the desk. So I can't thank the staff enough for everything you do. So,
Second.
hey, I'll be honest, it runs well with the staff. It's not me. So I don't take credit. It's the staff.
Well,
They
we'll
deserve
give
it
you
all.
credit.
So,
It's a good leader. It's-
anyhow, you can see I printed off and I gave you the trust funds. We haven't really tapped into them. Continue to grow a little bit. Probably next month we'll make sure next month we'll tap into the patrons fund to make sure we spend that once a year for that. So next month I'll request some money out of that just so we keep within the guidelines of requesting at least annually out of that fund. But if you look through if you have any questions about the trust funds, please feel free to call myself or Jenna. We can talk about it at any time. Happy to chat about it, but we really haven't been touching it because we've been trying to let it grow, and it seems to be growing pretty well. So which is really nice. It's a great thing to have the trust funds, and let us know if you have any questions about that. So that is all I have for tonight.
And at the select board meeting, too, the same one, I think it was, they said they had questions about the trust fund. So there's going to be an innovation of all of the trust funds. That was stuff we made. For sure.
It's not everyone here was very.
It was, because we're not the only ones in the trust funds, but
They usually have a whole, so it's all.
yes, they would, yes.
ARPA is all earmarked. Sorry, I just forgot about that. ARPA is all earmarked, so we have instructors set up until the end of 2025 here. Our trips are set. A lot of our meals are set. Lunch and learns are set. So we're still in a really good place with our ARPA fund because we earmarked a lot of that to get us through the foreseeable future. So, Jenna, I want to say thank you to Jenna for her support, guiding me through it and helping me through it. Couldn't have done without her, but it's nice, at least for now, for a few more months, and then we'll start charging. But a lot of the programs are free, and then we'll start to charge soon. A small fee, but we'll ease into it and we'll get it going. So, and that'll help, and then that'll continue to help offset some of the costs as we continue to grow, and look to the future.
Well, I think
So,
it's great to start gradually because they haven't been paying for several years now.
Yeah.
So we need to start. Even if it's for one or two programs. And then increase it.
Yep. So we'll get that going here, probably the second half of the year. And it's good. We're running good programs. I can't say anything but joy. So thank you all.
You have an overnight schedule too in May, right?
Oh, yeah, we have an overnight to the Trap Family Lodge up in Vermont. We've had quite a few signups so far. We have a lot of good trips coming up.
Oh, I thought you just said.
We have quite a few signed up. I don't know the exact number, sorry. Just one night, but it's a pretty good deal. Should be a good trip. It's not too far away, which is nice. The price is really good. So it should be a fun two-day trip. So folks really are really enjoying the trips. On the way up and down.
Give people the spirit of.
John, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. Is there a single supplement on that trip?
Yeah, you can do single or double.
And how much more is extra is a single supplement?
If you give me a second, I can take a look. Or you can call tomorrow. Give me 1 second. Let me grab the sheet really quickly. So the single is 500 and the double is 400. So it's not much of a difference, but if you want a single room, it's only $100 more. It's not too bad for accommodations and some food and some entertainment. Should be a good overnight.
That's exciting. This is a first.
Well, this is, well, second. They went to Cape May
Oh, that's.
last year. That was a pretty good trip. It was a few more days. They had a good time. So this is the second one. It's kind of nice to offer a little bit more. So,
Do you match people up if they, if you want to get people in a room together?
we could probably try. I think a lot of people either sign up for single or they sign up for double. And I don't think anyone's really asked, but it's nothing, we can kind of keep an ear out to see if there is somebody that would be willing to have a double.
Do I get a blonde or a brunette?
You get a male.
Yeah, right, cut to the shoes.
He can be a brunette or blonde or whatever he calls.
You're a funny one, Mr. Parsons.
But thank you all, appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. So let's hear from the friends, Brandon Senior 60+.
We met today, we are gonna have a fundraiser, but we haven't run fundraisers on January 25th, which is Saturday. So I need to put 20% of the proceeds, I think it's gonna be to the food pantry. What's it? Oh, with the friends, yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you that.
I have some flyers. Treasurer's report, we did, we're on checking like $11,000. There's a lot of more initiatives to get outreach, meeting groups like the Rotary, Lions Club, going to the Y and seeing. You also mentioned our biggest spring auction. Show auction.
I can't hear you, Nora. I don't know if anyone else can. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I can't hear a thing. I can't hear a thing. I wonder if there's any kind of a microphone extension that could be attached to the unit we have there.
Yeah,
So-
she's
so-
talking kind of softly.
Mine?
Yeah,
Yes.
she's talking really soft, so.
Using her indoor.
And
Yeah, not just yelling. So no, things are going along well, we're still, trying to figure out our Google Drive. For all our documentation.
Trying to figure out what?
Our Google Drive, we're trying to use Google Drive for documentation. We're getting a lot of good ideas, so, because we do want to help the seniors, obviously, yes. So we were looking into, we were gonna give the donations, so we were thinking about the Ready Food Pantry. Also, someone mentioned that in Arlington, they give the seniors, a parking sticker. Parking sticker. So we thought, well, that would be something good to look into. Just things about home maintenance, maybe for seniors, transportation issues with seniors. These are some of the ideas.
Great work. And if people didn't hear it online, the 25th,
January 25th.
January 25th at the Mandarin,
all day.
all day long.
Take in
have
or
to
take
mention-
out, mention friends of Reading seniors,
Yeah,
60+.
so let's pass that around, pass that word around. Good job. All right, so, we move into talking about recal. There are, three groups, the communications work group, the design / stakeholder work group, and the sustainability work group. So I'm going to pass it over to Jean and Mary. No, that's me, communications work group. Never mind. And I have, some things here that I was going to mention, and Jenna, please feel free to speak up if you would like. But there's going to be another public forum on January 28th here at the Pleasant Street Center. And the hope is at that point to show a really, really close to final design diagram of the new Reading Center for Active Living. There was a suggestion to hold one of these public forums in the afternoon, because when I come in here, I did hear a few comments like, you know, I'm not gonna get there at 7 o'clock at night. So we kind of talked about the best way to do that. Jenna had some good ideas. At the public forum, one of the things that I said was, I said, I want to be one of the speakers. And they all looked at me. And so it was suggested, and I don't know if this is definite or not, that we have a panel. And on the panel would be Council on Aging, would be veterans and recreation. And each, I think it's, I don't know, you didn't mention elder services, but it could be Council on Aging / elder services, but it's, you know, whomever. So anyways, we are gonna have a panel. One of the things that they are going to put in this slideshow also is they are gonna include examples of costs of similar buildings that have been put up in and around Reading. So that's going to be worked into it. And it's still an ongoing discussion. Some other things, the select board has asked for an update. I don't think there's a date yet. I haven't, there's no follow-up on that. We meet again tomorrow, so we'll probably hear a little bit more. But the select board's asked for an update. The schools or the Killam project is scheduled by January 22nd to publicize a cost estimate. So don't hold me to any of these dates because I don't know how fluid the dates are, if they're locked into stone, but January 22nd, that's when Killam is expecting to have an updated cost estimate. The towns, I don't know what to call it. It's like an executive committee that meets. It's town employees plus the chair of the permanent building committee. And they're doing a lot of the administrative legwork for this. So I was talking to Jane. They've met with fire, they've met with police, they've met, or they were soon to meet with conservation to talk about wetlands. So all of that is going on at the same time, all these work groups our meeting. And there is a permanent building committee meeting tomorrow night at Town Hall. Starts at 6 o'clock. And if you go out to the to the town website, you're gonna get all the information with the agenda and the Zoom link if you wanted to attend that. And that's basically it. Anybody have any questions?
The meeting's actually at the Pleasant Street Center.
Oh, tomorrow night. Oh, you're right. Okay, yes. Sorry, Jenna. Thank you.
No worries. It was my mistake to begin with, so. But that was a great update.
So,
What time was the meeting on the 28th, the public forum?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock?
7 o'clock. And
Starts
the
at 7.
last- Yeah, the last one went till about 8:30. It was about 90 minutes
I
long.
was here.
What else? That's it. That's my update. And I'm gonna turn it over to the design work group because in your packet, there was a copy of the latest slides and the layout. And I did make a large copy of what was in the packet. It's back to back.
I can bring it up if you want me to. It's the slideshow, right? That you sent?
We need approximately every other week.
Oh.
We lost them.
Yeah.
We lost them. They went up to the sky.
Yeah. It was so quiet, we didn't even notice.
It is
I
quiet.
don't even know they're lost.
I know. What's that?
We're still
We
playing
can
some
still
kinks
see
here.
you.
What's that?
We can still see you.
Yeah, well, apparently there's one kink we haven't ironed out yet, which out of everything, we're doing really well, I'll say.
It gives every meeting a chunk of it.
Yeah. Really thought we had that one solved.
We meet every other week as a rule. Last week we met, we're meeting again this week because we didn't meet on January 1st, but then we're going back to every other week. And mostly what's happening in these meetings is Joel talks for most of an hour, walking through all his latest revisions and an update on where they are. And this is your name? No, okay.
So he's the OPM, gives.
Joel's the architect and he walks through what he's been doing and how he's responded to feedback he's gotten. And we see it on screen and then we mull over it and we debate some issues and he listens and gives advice. And what you have in your packet is what he presented to us on January 8th, last week. And it's different, for those of you who were in the December 12th meeting, there've been quite a few changes since then, so I asked, and we haven't been getting hard copy, we've been seeing this go by on the screen, and I think they're trying to do version control and not have 7,000 versions out there, which is reasonable, but it's hard to absorb it all and think it all when you just seeing it on the screen for a little while. So I asked if we could bring it back to the Council on Aging as a hard copy or your own personal copy of the deck so people could mull and think. Then look, what Joel's looking for at this point is first and foremost is have we missed anything that we can afford? You know, have that we're never going to have, but if you think of some oversight that's in here, or an error or anything, you know, a major oops, he's trying to catch any of those before he goes into starting to get pricing. Because he doesn't want, I think, to get into pricing and then someone say, hey, wait, where'd the gym go, you know? I mean, so that's kind of, that was my take on where his mind is, and Jean and Jenna, have I captured that
I
correctly?
think you're right. He does listen, he takes the time to listen,
Yeah.
makes his suggestions,
Mhm.
and then the following week comes back with a decision.
Yeah, and the current one that we have here. The two areas we're going between the latest configuration of games and the lounge cafe. And I think Jenna and I worked that out and that we're comfortable with it. The one
Go up, go down.
there, stuff,
Is that it?
yeah.
Was there 1,500 feet square at,
Yeah,
they
so
were
I was
added,
gonna
is
ask
this in here
about that.
too?
That additional.
So they added 1,500 square feet to the
1,487.
design.
I don't know that that was any specific thing or whether it's just it got a little bigger. Jenna, do you have any idea?
It was information in our packet that was specific to an increase to about 28,000. And it included a rec committee, a rec department, office.
I'll let Jenna speak to that.
I can't
Yeah,
remember which packet that, which.
Probably.
Yeah, they didn't have an office for the rec coordinator originally. And then where it says future office in the corner, that was just for planning for a future potential recreation therapeutic specialist and or a mental health worker in the future. Those are a couple positions that we would share between EHS and rec. So we thought just having a little extra space for either of our departments if we needed it was wise.
Did that make the footprint 1,400 square feet bigger, Jenna, or was it just space for that got bigger?
So that was the additional space, and then there was one other thing that he mentioned in the email. I just can't think of it offhand, but I can pull it up really quick and read it unless it's in the packet like Karen alluded to, but I can look right now.
Jenny, not move the.
Where would that space be added?
From the conference room.
But he moved a bunch of stuff around,
Yeah,
but
he did.
I thought the space, the footprint, there was discussion at the beginning that the footprint has expanded, regardless of how stuff is located. I don't myself have any knowledge of like a wing being added or something, or did it just get a foot wider all the way down one wall or what? I don't know what led to that. I don't know if you have any sense of that, Jenna. Yeah, at the beginning, it was saying there were questions as why did it go from 26,000 to 28 or something like that. He acknowledged that it had, but I don't know that I could point to anything specific. Do you?
I have this one page
Yeah,
that it says major changes include adding the following, which total 1,510 square feet of 1,700 square foot that it added the future office, the front desk area for the recreation office, the recreation coordinator's office, designated reception area for the main lobby. So there are, it's spelled out.
so
Yeah,
yeah,
on,
so he must have made a wall further out or something if it added to the footprint. I don't know is the short answer, except.
if there were also some areas where the new program is slightly smaller in the feasibility study.
Yeah,
Because according to that, I have here, the arts and craft room at one time was 1,100 square feet. It's now 1,000.
it was.
The program room originally was 1,000, it's down to 900.
But that's because of the porch, so the total area is the interior porch. That's what he did, he took this,
No, this is.
oh, you're right.
Well,
Well,
this is what that Austin Ridge originally.
Oh, but he took away the storage area that made it 1,000 and he turned the storage area into that little patio, interior patio, whatever they call it. Like what the school did in a few places. It's a good question. I don't know the answer to specifically what pushed the boundary of the footprint. Some of these things are the room, one room got bigger, but another one got smaller and others, something included, made the footprint bigger. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, but that
I-
would be good, I think it would be good to find out the details.
Yeah.
I just found the email. I don't know if it's the same that's on the handout, but the future, this is straight from Joel. The major changes include adding the following, which total 1,510 of the 1,700 square foot added area. The future office for the mental health professional is currently requested. Front desk area for rec office, rec coordinator office, designated reception area in the main lobby. Overall program room category increased by 820 square feet. So is that what's in your packet? I don't need to keep
Yeah,
reading it.
yeah.
Yep, that's exactly correct.
Okay.
But it would also be interesting to see where he removed square footage from. If he
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, so it says there are also some areas where the new program is slightly smaller than the feasibility study program. This includes non-program spaces such as quarters, wall thicknesses, elevators, and stairs. The new plan is slightly more efficient. What he said.
Anyway, this is where we are. I know it's a lot to absorb, and I personally find it really hard to really envision things in 2 dimensions. I went to Sudbury this week. I still encourage anybody and everybody to go look at other senior centers. I know people have seen some. Jenna and I went up to North Andover, which is about my 5th trip, but it's Jenna's first this morning. I saw Sudbury 2 days ago. Jenna was recommending looking at Salem, that's a really good combined center. So I'm gonna hightail it up before the week is out. It's just really helpful, I think, to see in real life and to see where you see people and see
Right.
where you don't see people and see where you have trouble getting from point A to point B, whatever, and see where it's something you really like. You know, now's the time to say, wow, could we have that? You know, if it's not expensive, that would be something that would be nice to add. Now's the time to speak up on these things, because it's not final yet, but they're aiming for having by that open house on the 28th to have a schematic that's very close to what we really expect and to have pricing that's aligned with it, if not yet final as well. So look at it closely, expand it on your screen so you can see it. And
I actually have 3
yeah,
of those issues. If
Yeah.
I can just quickly
sure.
give them out as an example. The 2nd floor roof, that brown area, the gray area right there
Yeah.
is the roof over the great room.
Well,
And so I asked, well, we'll be able to build on top of that. And Joel said, well, it depends, because if you're gonna have a raised roof in that great room, kind of like, you're gonna raise the ceiling, then that's gonna make it more difficult. In my opinion, I say we go with I would recommend a flat roof. I mean, if we're building for future growth, that's the only space that we have. So rather than waste the money on a high ceiling, which we know causes problems, put in some skylights or something. So that was one of my comments. Another comment that I had was the game room. And I know that Jenna and Marilyn, I know you've had a conversation. And I'd also be interested to hear John Parsons' opinion, whether, a game room with 5 tables is enough, and whether that game room then morphs into the lounge is really what we want. And I mean, I've been here on Fridays and I've seen both the lounge and the kitchen being used. So I've seen, 7 to 8 tables set up. And I don't know if all games are like that, but it's something we might want to talk a little bit further about and find out also from all the people that, I think the game community is a really important community. It's like those people that come for exercise, they're serious about it.
To it, yeah.
Committed. Those people that come for the scheduled games are committed to it. They're serious about it. some games may be more heavily attended than others, so that was a question that I had. I don't know, I don't wanna put them on the spot, but, and what was I had the third.
If I could just add in on that one, Jenna and I have talked more, and Jenna actually volunteered the last time, and she didn't make it into the notes, and I responded, but an option is to move games to a program if they genuinely consistently need more. And we had talked about, also there are a couple of tables in the lounge that might be, might be a quick fix, but it's not a plan, but things can start that way, turn into the plan to your point.
You could do a move with a lounge, well, I won't be.
Well,
We're moving the
Yeah.
doors, things stand in the
Yeah.
lounge to be in the middle of that wall.
This wasn't my third option, or my third thing, but that deck on the second floor, is it really necessary? Are we really gonna have people? There's a beautiful space downstairs that's gonna have tables and would that deck space be better used as
Like I said, I got.
program space?
Program, or you could make it into, enclosed with a pit wall or something, that you can use it as an additional lounge, to get wide windows. Like solarium type.
John and Joel answered that last time, and if I understood him, he said, when you close it, you have to leave it in finished space, so it goes into the tax and everything else, so it's expanding space, that's all, it's not that it's bad, it's just. FYI, if we're looking to cut back, it's a growth, it's not a take back.
Although maybe then that's an area for future expansion. Because if it's not used, if
Well,
I
future
think of it,
expansion, but now you also have to think, do you need a deck, maintenance wise, snow removal,
Well,
et cetera?
then. So. We got a whole idea, and I don't know what it was, so forget it.
I asked about the computer room, is there
Oh,
anything
yeah.
specific, computer?
That got talked about early in the conversation, this goes back to Rachel, I remember her saying, most people these days bring their own laptops and it can be set up in wherever, it's not.
No designated space.
That's what that was my memory, this goes back to Rachel, so this is a year back.
You wouldn't you?
No, I don't know, I think, my experience now in the last 4 months. First of all, I'm not getting a lot of people coming in. I think a lot of seniors actually have a more solid grasp of technology than they did when I started this whole thing. And when people come in, they tend to come in with their device. They come in with a laptop, they come in with, so, and we have laptops, so we could use those if we still had it, we could use those laptops. I think I've seen a few people just come in and use the computer.
Do they tend to use that or do they use the printer?
Both.
In my building, it's both.
It's both.
We have a little business center, 2 computers and a printer,
Yeah.
and it gets quite a bit of use for the people that don't have a computer or the people that do but need to print something.
Well, could it be shared in the rec area if they have a copy room?
Well, this is.
Copy and storage.
On both floors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder about a computer room. That seems unnecessary.
What about for like any classes?
But we could use a program room, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's being used right now for digital.
Intro.
All the Apple.
I feel like we could find a space because I've never seen the computer room down here filled. I do see maybe 2, 3 people at most periodically, a lot of times just kind of 2 trying to, check their emails or print something off. And I do like the idea of like a laptop, you could always,
Center. You can
yeah,
borrow one.
or, they make you know, a lot of the laptops have like little cables with locks, so we could, you know, pick a space and lock it to the leg of the table and,
Yeah.
you know, 2 or 3 or check out.
Yeah.
I think would be okay.
You mentioned about possible addition over the gym.
No, not over the gym.
At growth, over the.
Over the space, yeah.
Over the roof. But that would be something that has, I think, to be approved now, because then they have to deal with foundation to support that growth.
Well, I asked about the last meeting, and Joel said the foundation's fine, and he said no matter what we do, we're gonna continue to improve up. But absolutely it could be. I can say any of that discussion, but I asked explicitly about foundation, and he said it's fine.
So, you know,
Yep.
we might wanna think about, I mean, that's one of the problems with this space. If we had more room to expand, might be able to stay here. But that roof is going to be the only real expandable, since the word area. So I think it's something to seriously talk about.
We have a couple of people with their hands up online.
Oh, okay.
John, do you want to go first?
Oh, okay. My thought on the computers, I know, Chris, you're right that there's never more than 2 or 3 people working on the computers. But I think part of the problem is those computers are old. They frequently don't work. The printer is sometimes a problem. And I think you need at least 4 or 5 computers. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
Would laptops suffice, or are you needing desktops?
I'd say desktops.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah, spin on.
they're cheaper.
You don't see those trucks either.
I know.
You don't see them in schools, you don't see them in businesses.
No, nobody's using.
Yeah.
Jenna, do you have your hand up?
I
Yeah.
think it's more than a discussion that we would have here. But it's something to further discuss.
Is this some, I'm not sure how to structure it, and maybe Jenny, you've got some thoughts in terms of feedback. Joel is looking to get this tied down, so we need a process. I mean, when we're saying this would be nice, do we really mean we wanna say, hey, we need to take 2 hours and think this
Right.
through, or we just, I don't know how to prioritize and think through funneling, and Jenny, you're our ace coordinator.
Yeah, I
up there.
Yeah, I think that the design work group is really well represented with staff, council on aging members. Nancy Toomey is also great from the permanent building committee. So I think it's pretty well vetted. I think Nancy's points are great. Nancy Z's points are great. We did talk in the meeting, I believe, about expansion, and I thought, Jean, maybe you had brought it up. But okay. Oh, Marilyn. Okay. So yeah, both of you. So it was mentioned that you could potentially even add a 3rd floor over the existing offices on the 2nd floor. So I don't, and it wasn't mentioned with the vaulted ceiling on that side. So I don't think having the vaulted ceiling would preclude us from adding on space to the other side of the building. But you know, would that happen? It is a pretty large facility. Maybe in the future it'll keep growing and growing, but at that point we can revisit it and put it on the capital plan for, you know, 30 years down the line. But we can confirm that with Joel, but I'm pretty sure he said that we could add to that left side of the building a 3rd floor. And I think the vaulted ceilings are wonderful. We were in Andover today. Their building doesn't seem to get a whole heck of a lot of sunlight. So I think that's why the vaulted ceiling was placed in their multi-purpose area. There was a small area that wasn't vaulted in the front of the room, which didn't look terrible to me. It was, so there's a small area that wasn't vaulted and then the rest was. So maybe that could be an option, but I'm really happy with the design. I love the vaulted ceilings for the light, and just how it looked in North Andover was beautiful, and I've seen it in a couple other places.
Christina, if Wilmington opened up yet? Not yet.
They were still building pergolas when I drove by about a week ago.
Okay.
I'd also, like the game room, I know someone questioned if it had enough tables. It might be. I'm curious, 600 square feet is, pretty large, that's,
500.
oh, is it 500 now?
Yes, has a bunch of.
Sorry, I can't read that.
Yeah, it's fine, it's fine.
Okay.
Which is 100 square feet less or more than what the lounge is.
Yeah, and they're adding the doors, right, Marilyn?
We talked about, right now, there are 2 doors between half of the lounge and the game room.
Right.
And Jana suggested putting like French doors in the middle of that wall instead of the 2 little doors. And in a pinch, you could open the door.
Well,
And
I
to
think-
my mind, it actually could go either way. If the lounge needed a little extra space, they could pinch into the game room because there are tables, but that was our
I
thinking.
think those, I was just gonna say, similar to what we have upstairs,
Yes,
open those
yes.
doors, so then you have dual purpose of the rooms.
Right, it's just, we don't want it to become permanently assumed that the
But-
game room takes half of that, half of the lounge,
But I-
but I don't
But
think it would.
I really think we should build for what we want and not what we think the exception should be. So my personal opinion is in that game room, you want enough space for all game tables. And you don't want to have to, especially the lounge area, you don't want to have to take over space in the lounge area.
So,
I mean-
so if you look at this chart, the game room is 600 square feet.
As of January.
And it is in
So,
this picture too.
And the picture says 600, so
Okay.
what I'm just saying is you may, I don't know what, I know the rough size of what 600 feet looks like, I'm not sure how many, feet that would be, but you may be able to add actually 6 tables in there. So,
I agree with Nancy's point, it's written back to the whole
Yeah.
permanent building committee, because, and as an afterthought, and listening to some feedback from Nancy, I realized I wasn't entirely clear on what everybody, I didn't know that what was in my mind, what was in everybody else's mind, and Jenna and I talked a little bit more, but, I agree, we should plan for the norm. I think flexibility for the exception is good for the whole building, but we ought to get the best handle we can on what do we think the norm is for games and plan for it.
and I think what I would do is, if you have enough size, the more important part is just making sure there's enough material in the room for sound absorption.
Yeah.
I know some of the groups now, once you get to like 3, maybe 4 tables, a lot of people kind of get annoyed and they can't hear because the noise gets really loud. So I think it's just worth considering, okay, if we have a lot of tables in the game room, is there enough sound absorption material to dampen that noise so people don't get, it hurts some people's ears. They just can't withstand like clicking of like the Mahjong chips.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times they do ask, they're like, can we move a table to the kitchen just so I can't hear.
The other thing to consider is, and it's got it up there as an example, it hasn't been discussed in terms of where anyone wants it, he just threw it out there as a think about is, he was envisioning, you could see that in that half of the lounge / cafe, you can see there are 2 tables and then there's looks like a 2-seater and then 4 little chairs and coffee table, but on that wall, he was envisioning a large screen TV. And that'd be a good example, if there's all these conversations going on, 10 feet away. How easy is it gonna be to be watching a movie up there or a sports event or whatever might appeal to people, so.
But I agree with Jenna. I think Jenna had a really good idea that, if there's another room, like a program room available, I don't see any issue on, hey, we have a lot today. Some days, you never know how many each week to week. I know Bridge, sometimes they have 16. Other days they have 10. So, it's one of those things that you could easily kind of, okay, you know what? They have a lot of people today. Some new people, let's just shift really quickly. So it's not a bad,
There's a 900 square foot
Yeah.
program room upstairs.
but you'd like to have a room set up so you don't have to do that.
Let me play the
Yeah.
devil's advocate, because, I also come in here between activities. And I see all staff down here and sometimes there's maintenance, but staff is down here setting up tables, moving chairs, but
Yeah.
so we're designing a building, let's design it for the space that we need so that our staff can do what they should be doing and not.
The other thing to remember is the multi-purpose room is a program room. And the goal is to have at least half of that space set up with tables and things. It's another spot where a large group would be easy to put without requiring most, so.
All right, so then here I go back to that open gap. Why
Could,
can't-
could I add some input?
That's just cost.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Pre-COVID, when we had Bridge downstairs in the big room, the great room, whatever you call it, at Pleasant Street, we took up close to half of that room. Maybe not quite half, but pretty close to half. I'm not good on square footages and that, but just to give you an idea of how much room was needed for Bridge, visualize close to half of the great room.
Now, the other thing, keep in mind, I know I saw it in North Andover when I went up, whenever it was, a couple months ago. I did notice there was a group upstairs playing games in the game room. But I also noticed a few people in the lounge, in the lobby playing a few games in the first floor. Yeah, so, but I do agree with Nancy though. I mean, I do agree. I can't disregard, like, if there's enough space so we don't have to move things. Makes complete sense. It's a good,
I mean, Jenna's idea, I like what Jenna said about, the great room, so maybe the front half of the great room is just a normal light ceiling. Then you can take that program room upstairs and bump it out a little bit.
Yeah.
And that would be a good thing. But I just think at this point, we need to be talking and advocating for the space that we need for our programs so that the staff can do the jobs that they need to do and not get caught up in room setup or whatever else it might be. And then you have to remember with the square footage, I mean, look at, this is 1,000 square feet, but look at all the stuff around the edge. So we don't really have 1,000 square feet in here. So I don't want us to sell ourselves short and make concessions at this point that we don't have to. I know what my fourth thing was. It was dividers. Those big rooms really need dividers. The great room needs a divider.
That was good one.
It has one.
That was
The
planned.
great room.
Yes,
The
that did.
multi-purpose room.
And that's when I brought, I think it was last week, Marilyn, I brought up on the 2 program on the arts, could even do it arts and crafts.
Yeah.
In the program rooms, why not at least, because they in previous said it was gonna be very expensive to put dividers in. So I suggested if you're building, put the mechanisms now into the walls and for the wiring, etc. So for future use, if you don't want to do it now, at least all the electrical and everything is built in, and then you just put in your dividers.
Yeah,
That's it.
which is what North Andover's done. They actually decided they couldn't afford the divider in their multi-purpose room, but they built all the whatever
Tracks.
infrastructure
Right,
so that
right.
if they have the money for it, they can buy it and put it in
And
whenever.
they had mentioned when we first proposed this, that it was gonna be, so do it now, put the mechanisms in the wiring,
Yeah,
and then you have that option going forward.
I do have to say, it's, I mean, just looking at the building and layout, it's a great building. I mean, I have to say, they've done a really great job.
Yeah.
I don't think there's, at least from my perspective, looking at it, there's a lot of space, which is really exciting. I don't think it's, we do, like Nancy has said, we do have a short period of time over the 2 weeks kind of left. I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't know if we have enough time tonight.
No.
But I would say, your input is very valuable. I know like John, he sees things, I see things differently than like John does or Nancy does, or I think, it'd be wise tonight to decide maybe a good course of action is over the next week, have everyone look at this design and write down any ideas, and then you could do one or two things. You could call a special meeting and we could discuss it for another hour or two. Or, you could also just email them to Nancy or Marilyn, and someone can kind of compile it. And, I don't think there's any harm in, then just be like, look, here's some things to consider just before we finalize the design that we kind of saw, just maybe if there's a tweak here and there. I don't think there's any harm. So that might be a good course of action.
And that segues nicely into the next discussion that we're
Can I
gonna
just
have.
ask a question?
So,
The
yes,
kitchen, is it big enough, 600 square feet?
I'd say it's still being debated.
Okay, that, I think it's just wrong, but.
So this
I
is,
agree.
And the other thing, the other question I have is, what's flex room? Is that just
Flex
flexible?
and fitness.
What's the difference between a flex room and a fitness room?
There's a thousand square feet.
A flex room,
Flex
yeah.
You
room.
would have activities in it,
But it was-
probably, it has that flex floor,
It's gonna cushion floor.
so you could do
Exercise
Zumba.
or whatever they want in there.
But the fitness center will have treadmill, not just
Okay, so it
spitball and
has
tread
equipment.
equipment
flat-
versus
Right.
a space to do the.
Okay,
The
Yeah,
floor,
like
the
yoga,
floor
things
in
like
the
this.
gym is going to be fully cushioned, and different than what's in the flex.
Right, it's a different kind of cushion.
If I
but it's
question
cushion.
that line.
okay, that's all. I know I wanna move on.
And that actually leaves me with a thought as we go to, if we can put all those yogas or whatever in the gym, do we need the flex room and might it not give us our game room?
What's the flex space?
That's what I just, that's what I just.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's, what I just, so the fitness room has all the equipment, the flex room is more for like yoga and floor
Oh, okay,
things,
yep.
things like, has a different
The
floor.
balance, best or
Balance,
whatever, it
yes.
is, and things like that.
So-
and,
Line dancing maybe, although that could go to the gym, the really good line.
and this is something operation wise that,
Yeah.
Elder and Human Services has to figure, because this is 1,000 square feet, and this room's too small for many of the gym activities, the exercise activities.
Yeah.
So that means that if it's not done in the gym, then then Chris is gonna be scheduling a Zumba class at 9 and another Zumba class at 10 in order to, people
Well,
aren't,
Well, I think the key is to think about, scheduling, like, and I know this has been talked about the gym. It's nice that we do have the gym option, even, if there needs to be a regularly scheduled class that we know, there's only a couple classes that really exceed that push, like best exercise, and Zumba sometimes.
Line dancing.
Line dancing does not. But,
Terry's
you know,
classes.
what's.
cemeteries, pom poms is getting there, but there's no reason with that gym, we can't, some of those, to be honest, pom poms should go into the gym. It is so loud. I refuse to sit down here, so a gym's a good place for it. So it's nice to have that, put down the curtain in the middle of the gym if we have a curtain. And we can regularly schedule,
Divide it.
and then we just don't have any issue on, you know what? We got, you can just,
Except the pickleball people.
Pickleball and pom-poms can compete.
There's basketball. Remember too, every single center we've been to has said expect at least double participation. And some of them have said 3, 4, 5 times, that might dwindle back down, so I think double's a reasonable thing,
Well,
but
the-
expect. capacity for double of what we have, and especially when we're opening up also to the rec hall population.
I
So
do, but I do,
today's standards are not gonna be enough.
I do caution though, with that said, is, I'm very cautious, especially with older adults. I like to put a limit. I don't know if it's necessarily safe, let's say you start to get 60 older adults exercising that has some mobility issues.
Yeah.
It kind of increases your risk a little bit. So I tend to stay very cautious on, let's make manageable size groups. And if we need to, we can add a group and add a manageable size group. Because if you start to get too many people in the room, you have to start monitoring it a lot more, and you gotta make sure they stay safe.
Like we had here.
Yeah.
Time shoulder to shoulder.
I
So-
think strength and balance classes just packs this room.
Yeah, but you know, they have, you know, once, I get really edgy once you start to get, when you start to go over 30 people, 40.
Well,
You know,
so
it-
that's when you have
Yeah.
staggered times.
Exactly.
So if you're going to have them in 1,000 square foot room, you're just gonna have to limit them
Yeah,
or offer them more,
Yeah.
Multiple times.
multiple.
but
times.
even if we use the gym, you know, even if we double numbers, it's one of those things, the staff and. You know, Jenna and the coordinators and the staff will have to like, okay, what's actually safe? It's great to increase the numbers, it's great to double, but what's safe?
Yeah.
And you gotta keep that in mind.
And again, I think that if we talk in the room, in the design committee, I know my head doesn't naturally go to it. But I was sort of like, oh, but we didn't talk about that multi-purpose room is like a version of this room.
So
It's
this
used
would be
for
that would be
programs.
the movie room, like all
It
this.
could be, yeah, but it's, in my mind, we should be thinking of it as a version of program room, and maybe everyone else is, and I just keep forgetting to, but it is a lot of room that for various.
So it's about
Just like
double,
this room, right?
it's double the size of this room.
Yeah,
The multi-purpose room is
but
double the
have a
size.
divider, so it could be
And
two rooms the
that's
size.
the one that's definitely
Yes.
having divided
Yes.
right now.
Yes. So it's two big program rooms like this that are in here as well, yeah.
And we are showing tables, my concern person, your thoughts. Sufficient storage,
Well, like North Andover and I liked it, and maybe, I don't know, I'd be curious at Jenna's ideas. They got some custom tables made.
Yeah.
Which are really nice. They look really nice. They don't necessarily need a tablecloth because they have a nice top surface that's smooth and easy to clean. But they fold up and they have a dedicated space in that room to kind of,
It's a storage space.
it's storage space. They did a really good job on designing their tables. I was pretty impressed. Jenna, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I was really impressed with all of the furniture in there. I thought it was very practical and safe. And the director over there, Marilyn, and I had a conversation, and she worked with WB Mason, who is on the state bid list and who we work with quite often. She worked with a representative there that helped purchase all the furniture, and she said it was around $100,000, which I thought was also very reasonable for all of the furniture in the building. So I was going to ask Joel and the design team in the next meeting kind of how that works and the selection process, because I'd really love for the staff and maybe even someone from a couple other directors from other centers to weigh in on what they got.
It might not be a bad, since we're kind of coming to the end of the design phase, it might not be a bad idea to make more visits on, okay, we're done with the design phase right now. What about the furniture phase?
Right.
What are people using?
Finishes.
You know, and you know, what kind of chairs do they have? I mean, what I'm sitting in is right now is really nice, but they don't stack. They take up a lot of room. You know, what kind of tables does, you know, North Andover has great tables, so.
that might
We
not
have-
be, that might, can I just follow up with this?
Okay, we
Jenna-
spent like 45
Yeah,
minutes
right.
on this, so everybody can have one last comment, no discussion on the comments, and then we're gonna move on.
Okay, I was thinking, Jenna, do you think this is something that we should bring up in the design meeting? about these tables, so maybe Joel needs to adjust the design of the storage area. to
I think that the Yeah, I think that the storage areas actually going to North Andover today, it's kind of funny. Like their multi-purpose area is kind of in a similar place when you walk in, and their storage areas seem to be in the same area. Their kitchen seems to be the same size, uh, and their population is pretty commensurate to ours as well. Um, so I think we could maybe bring it up in the design meeting, but I don't think we're there yet. I think that would come, if the town were to vote to support this project, that would be the next thing. We're in the schematic design, and then we go into like the nitty-gritty details with the furniture, but it's worth a conversation to see kind of how that next step would work.
Anybody else have a last comment?
I'm just thinking about process.
Chris's suggestion, we could come together again, it would have to be soon. Or we can send our individual comments to our representatives, and they can go for it. It actually kind of gets into our next discussion item, which is guidelines that a work group of COA people put together, which actually includes some of the things that we're talking about. But anyways, what do we have a preference? Yeah.
I personally think it's best to sit at the round table, so to speak, and chat it out and do a special meeting.
I agree.
I do, because that, you're getting different ideas.
So we can do a special meeting. We have to figure this out though, because if we do a special meeting and we call a special meeting, we need 6 people to show up. So if we don't have 6 people that will show up at a meeting, so we're not, this
Well, if
would
it's a
be,
work group, it doesn't have to be.
well, a work group is only 4 people.
I would recommend trying to get more than just a work group. So it's a few more, it's a last chance. I think it'd be wise to commit.
We need 6 people.
And
what's the point?
to get
Further
a,
this discussion?
I would say to come up with a
Almost
concrete
final.
checklist of, we agree, these are things that are really important to us that we're not sure that we've got it yet.
I think they're all important. I think
Alright.
they should all be on the checklist.
Well, then that's fine
personally.
too. It's, again, thinking of process and all that.
Yeah, sooner than later.
Okay, so what's today? Today is Monday.
13th.
It's,
Does it have to be at night?
it does for people that are working.
People who work.
Does anybody have one of those meetings?
Rosemary has her hand up for a little while, just so you know.
Yeah, Rosemary.
Hi. I'm thinking about the room that you were in right now. What the people like best about that room is the windows, the
Yeah.
light, and the doors can be open. So in the new building, I think we should incorporate those features somehow. Also, it's a quick exit in case there is a problem. We've got those doors that people can go right out. I would like to see a lot of light in all the rooms that are on the outer side of the building.
Okay. Marilyn's taking notes.
I was adding, but we need to turn this into a list that.
And we must make sure we have enough storage.
We can talk about this
Okay,
next.
so I am gonna try to schedule a special meeting sooner rather than later. If anybody knows how to use some of that scheduling software that's out, you can send out dates and then everybody responds and,
Google is one.
Doodle.
Yeah.
Do you know how to use it?
Oh, it's super easy,
Okay.
so intuitive. You can figure it out in 2 seconds. You're tricky. It's very easy.
Doodle?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, that's one I use.
Yeah,
It's
is it
free.
on-
Okay.
It's free. There's Calendly, but that costs money.
Okay, Doodle, that's it. So,
Just to look at, depending on the day, during the day, I may be able to attend the meeting, because I'm writing from work.
okay,
If it comes down that
You need a sit
Peak.
tight, yeah.
yeah,
I
okay.
can try to work my schedule around.
And I think it's a good idea anyways, to send all our ideas. If we can, to both Jean and Marilyn. And for that meeting, we'll have a document to
Okay.
look at.
Okay.
So
I-
we are
I'm just-
rehashing all the ideas.
Can I say
Yes, Jim?
I think for just open meeting law purposes, you don't want to have everyone emailing different people and so maybe just email Chris or myself and then we'll get it to the design group.
Well, it needs to come to our special meeting first.
Well, they can bring it to the meeting.
Right.
They can bring it to the meeting, right, Jenna?
It could be distributed just like all these materials are prior, but it comes
Yeah.
from one of you, not from a member of the meeting.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep, so they can email us.
So in the packet, there were 2 different documents, one about underlying principles. I'm not, they were very similar,
That's what
But
I'm
different?
saying.
but I mean,
Sorry.
So we're gonna switch up, yeah,
oh,
we're gonna talk about underlying principles.
One was an earlier version.
Sorry, I think I added both
Yeah.
and by accident.
oh, good. So one we can just get rid of.
Yes.
Thank you.
I just don't know which one.
I was like, what is the difference and why they took it? So which one is it?
The one you have in your.
Which one on mine?
Is this the one?
No, I can see it. I just prefer it.
Is this the one, Nancy, up on the screen?
Oh, you're in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'll take this
So
one, 'cause it
let me
doesn't
give
have the
you the
red.
backstory for this.
Oh, okay, I know which one it is.
To some extent, it was a work group, it was myself, Marilyn, Karen Net, and, no, it wasn't,
This one started with you and me.
right, it started with a work group of 2.
I can't remember which two it's not that one. Yes, it was.
And basically, just as you say, some of the things we've been talking about are on this list. So what we know that, the EHS has been working with staff, all your staff, on putting together an operations plan for this new building between EHS and RAC, that's whatever. So there's been a staff discussion going on. But we also thought it was important that that some of our thoughts and ideas should also be outlined, which may already be in the operations plan. Some may not, which, and the center, the EHS can say, nah, it's not important. I mean, that's your prerogative. But so what we wanted to do was to have the Council on Aging members look at this document and agree with what's written. The first section are more operating principles, they aren't building principles. The second section is recommendations that the following be included in the design plan space. And this is where you're gonna find repetition from what we've already talked about. And And I don't know if we have, maybe what we should do is at our special meeting, bring this. And, and maybe this is the list, maybe you guys don't have to have another one.
Have people had time to actually read through this?
Probably not here.
Would this be wise to, since we're gonna have a meeting, but just like the meeting minutes for next month, or like, you know, would it be wise to let people digest it for a couple days and then have another special meeting and
Well.
have an hour for this and have an hour for design?
This is.
Okay,
And I would say we can adjust it before the special design meeting
Yes.
and think of it, does this cover it? Do we all agree on these things? We may not.
We wanna take some things off.
Right, we wanna edit something and
then what will happen with this? It will then go to the design team. And then it becomes an official document that Council on Aging supports the information contained in this document. Especially about what needs to be included in the design plan, as well as the top portion, which are just some operating principles.
it allows the COA to give their input.
exactly.
It's very important, allows you to be heard. You know, because we do have valuable information.
We did this all through recount.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to go on the record of what the Council on Aging sees as important components that need to be included in the design and be considered for operations. So the idea is we'll combine this document, people should take time to read it, study it, cross things out, add things. And we'll take this document, we will take what was mentioned today, as well as, you know, the layout. And we will come up with a document to send to design. And what it does is it helps our design reps. And so our design reps say, hey, you know, this is how the Council on Aging, who has vested interest in the 60+ generation. And we think these are important pieces to consider. And then these two have to make it happen.
It sounds like a very good orderly way to do it. It allows your voice and our voice to be heard a little bit, just to make sure we have our input in there. Rather than kind of scrambling all the time. You know, hard, you know, it's hard to say what'll get changed, but at least we will have our input in there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It makes me feel.
and it's good.
I found the design people to be really receptive to input, on the very first one we got months ago, I sent Joel a long checklist of, I can do, how will that work, whatever, and he said that really helped it. Cause he knew concrete things that somebody wanted.
And at the next meeting, we have a different layout.
Yeah, he put almost all the things in, and some of them looks like, I was like, yeah, maybe not, but he's listening, he's making changes, but we need a systematic way to communicate with him, so it's not. When people say, I want this, and he goes for all the effort, and then someone comes in and says, where did that come from? You know, we need to be on the same track.
I think this also allows, you know, it's okay for some of you, I know, to talk, but it's nice to have the entire COA.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
rather than just being,
yes.
you know, we don't want to be like, okay, was this just a couple people? Or was this the entire COA? And this is a good way to do it.
But this, he needs it soon because that meeting is in 2 weeks.
Well, not only that, but there's a meeting on Wednesday weekend, and our next one's not until after the open meeting, so we'll have one meeting one before the. Yeah, yes. Yes,
That's not gonna happen.
well. And we speak to our executive people, they're coordinating Joel's time.
I would send out the doodle with a
Yeah.
Yeah.
couple possible dates with, at the end of this week or the beginning of next week.
My guess is, but I could be wrong, that what we're asking for will not be massive change to this, you're good. But I'm not that worried about the 28th. It's not gonna be presented as final this time, it's gonna be.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it?
Oh, I don't think so, it's not what's been sent to us anyway, it's intended to be a really good estimate of it, but the pricing isn't until the third opens.
Cost, in other words, they can't give an estimate.
But the
until-
cost is the third meeting, it's not for January.
Right.
I think you could do it next week. Give
Oh.
some people enough time. I think, you know, Thursday or Friday this week is, you can't do it Friday, Friday's hard. But I think,
But we can just let them know this, meeting is in the next week, but as things stand, there's not another work group for design until the 29th after this Wednesday.
Sunday night, and I'll make everybody dinner.
So you don't have to make it every day. Oh, yeah, it's a holiday weekend.
I would look at next Tuesday or Wednesday.
Are you still making dinner? No.
She makes great chili.
Do you want to be in?
What did they do?
Well, the 21st, what about people around this table, who has their calendar?
Or people online, Rosemary, John. Don't forget them.
What about the 21st?
Works for me.
There might be a second PBC meeting on the 21st now, Nancy. So
What about the 21st at
I can make it.
Karen, can you make it?
What about the 22nd or 23rd?
Yeah, I mean, I could earlier on the 21st.
Okay. So if we said like 3 or 3:30, 3:30. 3:30 on the 21st.
Does that work for people? Does it work for you?
I can't be, I have no grandson, I've got to deal with him on 21st, so I won't be here.
We just need to have a quorum, so we might not work well for, we'd love to have you. If we have the majority of the group. Rosemary, does that work for you?
John.
Look at my calendar. What about John?
John?
I haven't been able to totally hear all of the dates you've been talking about.
The 21st.
Next Tuesday at 3:30.
You mean I have to give up Bridge in Winchester? Yeah,
No.
yeah, I can obviously make it.
Okay.
He's just full of it tonight.
We're gonna give you a medal for participation, John.
And then we'll wait to hear from you.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a possible, but I have an appointment before that. I can go from one to another.
That sounds
So
like
the answer is yes.
My answer is possibly yes.
If you can't make it, what I would say is send, over the next week, send your comments to myself or Jenna, and then we can, you know, give them to the group, next Tuesday. So your voices are heard too. Let me take a look and we'll email you the location.
Right.
We did the learn and design group. on Wednesday that this process is going on, they might wanna, I don't know if it'd be possible, another work group earlier before the big, outreach meeting, I have no idea, but as things stand, I think probably Joel is thinking he's gonna wrap this up pretty much for that meeting on Wednesday, and that might, it may or may not be that we are ready for that, but at least make him aware he might wanna think about another meeting questioning, What,
Oh, that's good.
what's that?
Have the meeting if she can't find a town that's like building.
Is this John Parsons' time to shine?
Yes, it is. Well, wait.
Not yet, almost.
So what about tell me again about the permanent building committee meeting. They might have a meeting on 21st.
The 21st, yep.
What time?
Oh, okay. But we on the 21st and we're gonna meet at 3:30. Okay, yes, it is your time to shine, John. Unless anybody has any, no, I'm not even gonna.
No,
look at
no,
that.
no.
Close it. No.
Speak, John.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, Rosemary,
Aye, yes.
John,
Yes, here, yes. Whatever.
John.
Karen,
Yes.
Marilyn,
Yes.
Nancy, yes, Nora.
Yes.
Jean
Yes.
and Karen P.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor.
Meeting adjourned.
I like doing please. I know you're not. I know.
I'm just gonna pass this on, anyone who wants, and we have our business. cards.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much.
And
Good night.
Nanny.
Yeah.
Anybody wants some business cards, it's got our email address, which is really useful, if anyone
Sure.